Ooh, 1, 2, 3. We are live. Welcome, everybody. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, if you are joining us from the Northern Hemisphere, well, it's quite hump day for you. And if you're wondering what the hell hump day even means, it's the hump of the week. It's Wednesday. We're in the middle. We're on the, what's that? The stretch, the I don't know racing terms. I'm not very good at that stuff. Whatever we are, we're nearly on the other side of the week. So I hope whatever you've been up to this week, it has been productive. It has been enjoyable. And if you have clicked on this and you don't even know who you clicked on, well, let me introduce myself. I am Aileen Day. I am the owner of Business Solutions and Value Driven Brand. And because I'm greedy, Aileen Day Consulting as well. So we are joined here together, loved ones, because we are going to talk about resistance, the Maleficent of the thing that stops us doing the things we need to do that we know are good for us, that sometimes feel a bit hard, and we find ways to not do them. Therefore, we don't get anywhere. And I saw a quote the other day about something along the lines of, don't be scared where you could be this time next year. Be scared of being in the same position this time next year. And I thought, oof, that's poignant, isn't it? So if you have joined us here today, we are going to be talking. I can't talk about resistance and how we can fight back and get the power back for ourselves. So that we can avid reader, which I never used to be. I used to prefer to just go to sleep, but then Facebook came along on the mobile phone, and that would be my book for the night. I'd scroll through Facebook and then go to sleep. But these days, now that I'm over the trauma of university reading, because to be honest, I didn't mind reading, but university really ruined reading, the joy of reading for me. And it took some years to get that joy back. And you might have heard me talk about Hal Elrod's miracle morning process that he goes through. And I really started doing the miracle morning that I really started to enjoy reading again. So a few of the things that I read, and it turns out I'm so far behind everybody because when I was like, oh my God, this book, everyone was like, oh yeah, we've read it. I was like, fine. It's fine. Better late than never. But there is a book by a gentleman's book. Book is? Can I a whopping 96 pages. 96 pages, and has sold millions and millions and dozens since it was first published. Now, you might have seen this book, you might have even have read this book, and let me know if you have. But in summary, what it's all about is the tactics and the strategies that Sun Tzu observed during wars in different empires. So then, fast years, and I am sitting in a Thought Leaders Business School immersion, and I was talking to a very, very, very smart woman by the name of Julia Steele. And Julia, if you see this, hi. And she was talking about a book called The War of Art. Now, interesting, jumped up and went, oh, I just put that on order. But I hadn't. I got confused. I had that on order. speakers and behind the times. But then upon her recommendation, strong recommendation, preface this, the reason they make you go broke is because you spend hundreds of dollars at your Booktopia account or Amazon account, because everyone is so and such readers, and they sit there for 3 days and just tell you all about these amazing books. And so you're like, oh, well, add that to the Booktopia account. And you end up spending, before you've realized it, you have a very exciting amount of packages hitting your doorstep, and you've got to keep up with all the reading. So this was one of them. And that I run, my group coaching program that I run, I started and the new initiatives to I had members who were reading books, and I thought, oh, how wonderful to also know more about that book. But I'm not reading it, they are, but maybe there's the opportunity to learn more from them. And I had an initiative called the MBA Book Club, and we were doing what's called a TLDR. So if you haven't heard of what a TLDR is, it's too long, didn't read. And basically it's a summary, it's a version. And so what I committed to doing was, upon starting this, was to do a TLDR for each chapter. What ended up happening was, and a TLDR is generally maybe 3 to 4 bullet points, very short, sharp, succinct bullet points of what you could get out of that chapter, the main key points of each chapter. What ended up happening was this blew my tiny mind so hard at its relativity and just how easy it was to consume, but how relevant it was for not just myself, but nearly anyone and everyone I've ever come across. That in TLDR, I was just about and when I looked at the bullet points, what I realized was that I was practically I thought, oh, it's meant to only be 3. But then I thought to myself, you know what? This is so much gold in them there hills that I can't not share this. And ultimately what the first, so it's broken up for us. And so same deal. Look how little this is. And this book is just absolutely phenomenal. The author is a gentleman called Stephen Pressfield, and I might just have to stalk him. I think I follow him on Twitter, not on LinkedIn or anywhere else, but I might have to track him down. He's a freaking genius, can I just say? And again, for you budding authors who think you've got to go and build, monster books to get anywhere, 165 pages. And this too is a bestseller. And not just because you paid a good PR agent to tell everyone it is. It actually is. But the main theme around the War of Art is all about resistance and the power that it has upon human beings, and what we need to do on that feeling when we start to become aware of it. So if we were to think about, what does resistance actually mean? I'm not talking about, resistance armbands, which, I probably could use a few times more often than I do. Resistance is the scenarios where you have to go and do something, but you find every other excuse to do it. I remember when I was studying ready for some exams, I was so resistant. Keep saying, I think it was statistics. Ugh. Whoever's done statistics would completely understand. But I was so resistant to studying for my exam that there was a little corner of mold in my bathroom that had probably been there first because it was right in the top corner. I couldn't reach it. It was so resistant to get that work done, that I and not just go and clean it, oil to clean it off with. I went and bought a special cloth. I then took my time getting the chair into the bathroom. You get the point, right? I did whatever I could to not get that job done because there was something inside me that was like just pushing back, and I justified it by doing something else that needed to be done that I'd kept putting off as well. That's the irony. I'd resisted cleaning the mold as well. Oh, it's the what is it? The worst of two shit situations, really. I chose the mold. So what do the symptoms of resistance look like? Well, resistance looks like fear. We talk often about not playing small, but resistance is you playing small. It is you being scared of your potential, not scared of failing. Many of us actually, mistake our fear of failure for actually what is really a fear of success. And let that just sit with you for a moment and consider how that has played out in your life, right? In the past, I have, maybe been somewhat trepid about going and meeting different people and putting myself in front of different people. These live broadcasts are a great example. I was shitting myself starting these, but the resistance in me said, don't do it. I realize if I'm scared, then that's exactly why I need to do it. And I'm not scared because, I think I'm scared because what if it sucks? But the reality is I'm scared because what if it's an amazing success and I don't know what to do with that success, right? And so I started the platform where not very many people saw me first to try and get to being on camera, to try and get used to speaking freely, to try and get used to being natural when I show up and not playing small, right? So yes, I was still scared to start a live broadcast. When LinkedIn gave me the tick to say, yes, you're allowed to go live, I was like, oh my God, this shit's getting real. And now I'm scared. But then I think, okay, am I scared because I could muck this up? Or am I scared because this could actually be an amazing success? And I don't see myself worthy. So therefore, I find ways to resist doing the work so that I can then not be successful. And then what can happen is I can blame other facets of my life, like the mold needed to be cleaned. That's why I justify that resistance. Another thing that shows up as resistance is criticism, right? Resistance inside ourselves loves to give shit to people doing life better than you. How many times have you sat there and looked at someone, what a wanker? Maybe if you're in Australia. If you're not in Australia, you might have gone just basically being a not very nice person towards another person because they are doing the things that you know you could be doing, but you're allowing resistance to take over. That is the maleficence, right, of resistance, that it turns you into a piece of shit yourself because you are jealous, because you know that could be you, but it isn't. And that is only on you that it's not. Consider that, right? When we compare ourselves to other people, really that's resistance coming through and us justifying our own lack because somebody else has something we want, but we haven't put the effort in. I've talked about my to don't list, thanks to Lisa O'Neill. And one of them says, don't compare your journey and don't be a spectator. And then thirdly, don't expect success without effort. And when we do those three things, that turns us into the person that judges other people for their success because we don't have that success yet. Now, it might be a case of not yet, but at the same time, if you've got the time and energy and the effort to put into shit-canning somebody who is doing well, then surely your time, energy, and effort should be better reserved for actually making something of yourself, for making something of your business, for turning it into that brand that you know it can be, for getting the customers to become loyal to you and not your competitors. So stop thinking about what everyone else is doing and start looking inwards. Start considering what you are doing to yourself, for yourself, to push back on resistance. Procrastination, my favorite. Hands up if you were the type of person who at school got a project and waited till the night before it was due to get it done. The problem was that I worked quite well under, and the predicament was that I still did well. I still got good grades by doing the work the night before. And that is not common. I'm going to think it's not very common. A lot of my friends didn't have the same outcomes. But I don't suggest it either as a practice, as a way of getting through life, because it can become a bit stressful. And when you're in your 40s, what happens is you start giving yourself grey hair when you do shit like that. Look at this. Can't quite see it. It's there, I promise. But procrastination cannot be a way of life. It is a sign of resistance. And when you are procrastinating, now that I've read this book, oh my God, my clients get so frustrated at me. They're like, they'll be saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and it will show up for 4 weeks in a row, because one of the things that I have with my group coaching, my Momentum Business Accelerator, is every week they have to submit their goal and that they're going to commit to doing. And sometimes there's priorities in there that are there for a row. And I sit there and I say, it's time to hold you accountable when it's way past due. You've been telling me for 4 weeks that you're going to do this activity. Why is it still coming up? And ultimately what they've done is they've procrastinated. They've justified that other things have come up, or, that they couldn't get to it because somebody else was, challenging them or in their way, or, dependent on the job being done. And I say to them, what are you resisting? Why are you resisting getting this done? And they all turn around and they're like, that book, I swear. Like, no, I got you. But it's true. What are you resisting? If you keep saying, I'm gonna, what are you resisting? Are you resisting the opportunity to be successful? Are you resisting the hard work that might have to go into it? What are you pushing back on? Are you resisting the energy that something might take? Are you resisting having to deal with somebody? And if you are, why? What's going on? Right? So the beauty of it is that when you are procrastinating, when you are scared, you are criticizing somebody. I must say, I badmouthed somebody the other day. I was not happy with the service I got, and I told somebody, and I thought, why am I doing this? why am I criticizing them? What's coming up for me that I feel better criticizing somebody instead of being helpful and just maybe delivering honest and open feedback? Because, I talk about time. So, it really does mean that I should live up to it. But the reality is that it became easier for me just to shit can them. And then I had to catch myself and become aware of myself. And in those moments, you realize and you're like, oh my God, I'm that person. Holy shit, what do I do? How do I resolve this? How do I not let resistance win? Is to fix it, is to move ourselves when it happens. Well, as I said, be aware of it, right? I want you to use those situations when they come up as a compass. I want you to start becoming conscious of what you know now, right? What you know about resistance, how it shows up, and that's only a few of the ways resistance shows up. How does it show up for you? And when it does show up, use it as a compass to turn it around, right? We talk about turning the ship around, which is also another wonderful book. Think of the, we'll grab it. Turn the ship around. How can you turn your ship around so that your ship is not resisting the change? How can you make the improvements now that you know? Because what we say about what you know, when you are conscious, you are response able, right? I know the word is responsible, but that is unconscious. When we are conscious, when we know shit, it is our job to fix it, to find a way through it, to not ignore it, because otherwise we are now just ignorant. Ignorant and arrogant. If we know things and we still don't fix it, if we don't find ways to improve the way we are, the way we do things, the way we show up for ourselves, for the people we love, for our team, human experience, then we are arrogant and ignorant. And we don't need more of that. We already have some. We already have more than enough of that crap. We need value-driven humans. And this is how you become a value-driven human, how you improve your human experience, is to basically find the ways that resistance shows up for you and ask yourself, what am I resisting? Are you procrastinating? Are you aware that you're procrastinating? One of my clients, she acknowledged her procrastination issues, and so we put her on a 45 and 10 timer. So there's studies around, blocking your time into 9 blocks, the 15-minute break. And I said, no, too long. For you, we're going to put it as a 45-minute timer and a 10-minute rest block. So then what happens is if she goes into one of procrastination modes where she finds herself unconsciously just picking up her phone and scrolling through social media, and, if it's anything like me, TikTok, uninstalled TikTok, but I love it, but she loses herself. And before she knows it, it's been 2 hours, right? Do that a couple of times a day, even a couple of times a week, and you are ruining your productivity. You're ruining your ability to get where you want to be, and you are letting resistance win. So when you become aware of that, what are you going to do to rectify it? I must say the 45 and 10 timers for her are working an absolute charm. Absolute charm. And if you find yourself, I now get to the point where I actually use I move my mobile phone. So on days, especially where I have to write for my book, it's too easy to get distracted, right? Distraction is resistance. So I take my phone and I put it down the other end of the house and I put it on vibrate so that I can't hear it, so I can't be tempted by it, because I know that I will be. So I use that distraction as my compass to become aware of my behavior, to wonder, to sit there and question myself, what am I resisting? Right, I'm resisting writing. Why am I resisting it? Well, because I don't know what to write, or I don't feel like writing, or what if I get this done and then I actually have to do the scary stuff, like make this a real book, not just a Google Doc, right? I become scared of my success, my potential for success, which, just saying, I know it will be successful because you're all going to go and buy it once it's done. I'm all about it. I know you will be too. You'll love it. It's called The Joy of Sex. Who doesn't love that? If the original can sell millions of copies, surely mine can too. All right, the next thing I want you to do once you've used resistance as a compass, I want you to question yourself. Please be upfront, be honest. If you're not going to be upfront and honest with other people, please just be upfront and honest with yourself. Stop bullshitting yourself, right? I stopped bullshitting myself a couple of years ago. I think I've talked about it in some of the earlier live broadcasts that we've done, but I was sick to death, up to the back teeth of bullshitting myself, and I put a line in the sand and I said, I'm done. I can't keep lying to myself anymore. I need to do something that is upfront, honest, and for my own benefit. I need to go and put myself into a situation which is uncomfortable and difficult and a lot of effort, but I know if I show up and don't play small, the rewards will be huge. And that's exactly what I did. So I want you to sit in the situation. Once you've established and used it as a compass, sit in that situation. Why do I keep using criticism? Why do I keep getting scared of things? Why do I say no to things? What is coming up for me? Ask yourself the question. Sit in it. All right? We talked about sitting in it in one of the podcasts that we did with the grief counsellor Yvette Tarrant, right? So go and find that one. I think it's like the second or third podcast, which also I should mention, all of these live broadcasts are also available on valuedrivenbrand.com/LinkedIn Live. So if you want to catch any of these in one spot, I've made it nice and easy for you. I will just say I don't believe it loads on one of the browsers. It doesn't like. Might be IE. Seriously, anymore? Really? So if you want to go and catch any of those, you can go there. And if you want to go and find any of the podcasts, you can go to the same place, but it's /podcast series. So go and find those. And Yvette Tarrant had so many amazing insights around grief, and not just like people dying grief, but grief in so many other facets, which this really ties into, because sometimes what we do feel in resistance is grief. So question yourself, what are you resisting? And the third thing I want you to consider is I want you to plan for sabotage. Our brain knows when we are nearing the end. Our brain knows when things are going well. And then what we do is we self-sabotage. Our brain says, nah, not going to let you finish. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I know. I'm getting real classy, I know. Right? But I didn't swear. But our brain knows. How many times, if you're watching this, tell me if you've been in that situation where life is just kicking goals and then out of nowhere, left field, something goes wrong. Everything goes wrong out of nowhere, right? Well, it's not out of nowhere. Generally, we made it happen. We did something along the way to make bullshit happen. We sabotage ourselves. Can't get to the end of the book? Well, probably because you sabotaged yourself. Can't make it to the meeting? Probably because you sabotaged yourself. Don't want to show up consistently? Well, probably because you sabotaged yourself. So if you know that is how we work as human beings and it's completely normal, it's a shit thing, but it is completely normal, how are you going to mitigate it? How are you going to, in your planning, to not play small, in your planning to be successful, in your planning to deliver a value-driven brand and a value-driven life? How are you going to mitigate and plan for that potential self-sabotage towards the end of your project, towards you getting 3 foot away from gold, right? I was saying to someone just last week, they were talking about these live broadcasts and they were saying, I love them. I love them. I think they're fantastic. And I was like, oh, that's so great. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep doing them because I thought I wasn't really getting the right traction from them. But then that's just me sabotaging myself. I'm just finding an excuse not to show up twice a week, right? And that's bullshit. And I know I'm doing it, which is why even though I thought I might go and sit out in sunshine today, I thought, no, I'm going to turn up. I'm going to show up. I'm not going to play small. I am not going to let resistance win. I am going to mitigate that self-sabotage. And no matter what my brain says about whether I get 100 people online live or 400 people online post live, it matters. It does matter. I know people are watching this and I know people are enjoying the information. So I can't let resistance win. And trust me, there's days where it really pushes back on me. That was a good idea in the beginning. But you understand where I'm coming from, and I'm sure that you have experienced exactly the same thing. So we are not going to let resistance win. Everybody, please go and do Stephen Pressfield a favor. Make it richer and more valuable. Please go and get a copy of The War of Art. If you're local, feel free, you can borrow mine. I'm going to be the library available. But that is it for me today. I hope that you have got some great information out of that. And I know last week we talked about whether I was going to shorten these, and here I am going 3.5 minutes over. So clearly not. Whoops. My bad. So you'll see in the comments, I want to say that I have put in a link for you to sign up to any notifications and so please feel free to join us. I released the very first called the full because it's June now, end of last month. So end of this month will be a second newsletter coming out. And if you don't know what the 411 is, someone said to me, what's 411? I was like, oh, I thought everyone knew. But that was a silly assumption of me. The 411 is the information line that used to call back in the olden days when I was a kid. Actually, I think, to be honest, but it's a colloquial term to imply the information. So 411 with Aileen Day newsletter is now a real thing. So if you want to join in the fun and be the first to know what's going on, please feel free to click on the link and shoot me your name and email address. And I promise I will not send it to any Nigerian princes or English princes or any prince or princess. They don't get it. Just me. Just for me. That is it for me. All things done, said. we will be back next week. I hope if you are in Melbourne, please, and you need any insight or help with this whole lockdown situation, how you might be able to do business, agile business in light of a likely extension of the lockdown, please hit me up in my DMs. I'm more than happy to have a bit of a quick chat with you and throw some ideas around because I want you to succeed and get through this. For everybody else, please make sure you're supporting small businesses right now. Instead of going and getting McDonald's, go to your local pizza, chicken, whatever. Find ways to spend your moolah with the little kids so that they may get through this next hard slog. It would be very, very amazing of you to do that. That's it from me. I will catch you next week. Until then, go and deliver value to somebody else because we all know what goes around comes around. I'm Aileen Day. Until next time.